Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. As always, we invite you to check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com to find out who these crazy people are.
It's entertaining.
It can be. I hope it is.
Yes.
Certainly do hope so. Have you guys been finding yourself doing this all the time? Verifying you're human all the time. I swear I do this 24 times a day. This is Patreon, by the way, and we do thank our Patreons for their support. Yes. And Patreon wants to make sure that I'm still human. I was the last time I checked, but then this is a weird world. And, we had a 5.9 earthquake in Nevada that got wiped, or it never really happened. This was just crazy because supposedly the same thing happened over in Utah. This is towards the northern part of Nevada, as you can see. This is northeast of Carson City. There was a 5.9, and look at this. I have never, ever seen this ever before. I've been watching this 10 years every single day, pretty much for 10 years. On December 4th, 2025 at 8:06 a.m. Pacific time, the Shake Alert earthquake or early warning system was activated for a magnitude 5.9 earthquake near Reno and Carson City, Nevada. The event did not occur and has been deleted from the USGS websites and data feeds. USGS and our partners are currently looking into why the warning was issued to a broad region of California, including the Bay Area, Eastern Sierra, and parts of South Central California.
Yeah, it's really interesting. That's kind of over the top of like a rather large base. So we're looking at that. And I did have a very dear friend texted me about this, and she said she was sensing a portal. And in that moment in time, I saw a ship. So I don't know. This is sounding pretty crazy, but we're in crazy times. So
for somebody that doesn't know who you are, and you say you saw a ship, you saw it in your third eye.
Well, yeah, it was like right there in my third eye, a picture of a ship, and she was sensing a portal, and it just made me feel that, yes, the portals are now, you can feel them now. So I mean, I've had visions like this all of my life. I've just honed them in and developed them, and they've come in kind of handy quite often because for moments like this, they're not going to say what it is. And we all know with Three Eye Atlas doing what it's doing, I really feel that there's a lot more going on than what they are saying. And I keep having these crazy visions. A lot of people are really waking up to their abilities left and right. Things are changing.
Oh, well, welcome to the Bronze Age. This is what we were saying. We shared with you guys that the Kali Yuga ended April 8th, 2024, and we are now in the Bronze Age. There's a transition period.
We did a video on that earlier.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we've done a video on that, and I've found that others now are saying around that time, there are others that have come to the conclusion that the Kali Yuga ended too. So, again, we're just sharing things from our point of view, our experience and perspective. And, people do look to us for these type of abilities. This is what we do on, a regular basis. We're not government-trained remote viewers, but we do know government-trained remote viewers. We don't work for the government, but we do have friends that are in high places that have gone through training and actually do also, show support for us. So, again, we just want to share with you our perspective on things. This hits me as very, very unusual, really unusual. And it feels, gotta say, it feels like a cover-up. It feels like a cover-up. We had 5.3 in El Morro, Mexico. There's not too many huge ones. A 5.8 in China. I was telling Cindy about this. This hit me as being something to note in these areas out here. A lot of structures are not that well built, and they can have problems. And this is unusual. We have a 3.4 up in the UK. I think there's big changes afoot, huge changes, but it's to be expected. We are changing our whole age. Yeah, welcome to a new age. And I realize that term can strike terror into some people, But yet again, that's what we're to look out for, right? These are all signs of the new age. Well, we are standing in it, and it's gonna develop. It's gonna take a little time. One of the things that's developing is a significant physical silver shortage, and it's affecting the global market, driven by a persistent structural deficit where demand consistently exceeds supply. You know, I think a lot of people thought it was crazy. There's been rumors about silver going to $100 an ounce. I think that looks very reasonable now, as silver is sitting at $57 an ounce. Absolutely, 100, maybe 1,000, maybe more. You know, again, there's a lot of different predictions out there when it comes to the precious metals market, but silver is something that is in deep demand, and it's used every day in many, many industrial ways. And it has always felt to me that silver is artificially suppressed. The price of silver has been artificially suppressed. So when it goes, and it's starting to go, I mean, look at that graph. You know, you go back to here, $22. So that's a huge increase from February of 24. You go back farther over here, August 22, you're down to $18. And if you go back to around 2019, it was like 15-ish. So it's just about 4x. And I do think that's going to go way, way higher. So when we look to crypto's been very volatile and just went through a lot of volatility again. You know, what I would be more inclined to invest in is honestly silver. And, you know, gold is something that seems to be out of the reach for the average person, you know, us included. We're not rich, we're not wealthy. So I just see silver as being more reasonable. Plus you could get it in little bits and pieces. So, you know, one silver coin, basically you're probably going to pay maybe $62 or $63 with the fee to get one silver coin, and that might turn into, who knows, 500, 1,000, maybe in a year or two, maybe less. The other thing is the situation with the U.S. dollar and the global financial markets. It's just a mess. We're witnessing the beginning of the collapse. How long will it take? It might take months. It might take weeks. It might take years. It's again, I think there's a tendency to think things are, you know, going to happen quicker than they do. So keep that in mind, but at the same time, I think everybody should be preparing as best as you can. This is Barbara O'Neill, who is a naturopath, a lecturer, very well known. She says the first step in healing naturally is leaving your diagnosis at the door. That's the opposite of what the medical system would say, right? I've shared with you that in my mind, getting a diagnosis, especially if that diagnosis is not correct, it's almost like receiving a spell, like somebody put a spell on you. And, you know, it's not a good thing when you look at the stats, and they'll give you the stats, the facts and figures, and X amount of people, you know, recover from this situation, X don't, et cetera, et cetera. Can people make errors? Well, medical errors are one of the leading causes of death in the world. It's just a simple fact. So, you know, again, understanding we're in a new era, we're in a new age, there's going to be a whole new set of rules. And then when we take into consideration that some of the things that we've taken to be accurate and true have turned out not to be too accurate and not very true. Again, I think nature is basically providing us with everything we need. And I think that it's done that way on purpose. It shows that there is a divine plan of sorts out there. Now, modern medicine defines disease by symptoms, labs, and scan results. Then it suppresses, blocks, or inhibits what it finds. Its focus is on symptom control, not root resolution. I think that's something that most people are waking up to. Natural medicine reframes the body. It actually sees the symptoms as signs of dysfunction, and you know, of the body trying to cleanse itself, trying to adapt, trying to survive. And then again, it brings about the question of terrain. What is the terrain? There is something called terrain theory. If you've never studied it, please do. Of course, one of the biggest industries in the world does not want you to look into terrain theory because it's all about, again, the fishbowl is dirty. It's getting green, full of algae. What do you do? What do you do? Do you give an ouchie to the fish? No, you clean the bowl. You clean the environment. It's the same thing with our bodies. We need to detox. We need to stop taking in so many toxic chemicals, toxic foods, toxic water. I hope there's nobody that drinks out of the tap in this day and age. Again, mold, mercury, all sorts of improper gut balances. The first place to look to is the gut and your microbiome. Because again, there is one you, right? One physical you, so to speak. Yet there's billions, if not trillions, of individuated units of consciousness that we can call bacteria, viruses, and even your cells. They're all individuated units of consciousness that reside in you. You are truly a universe. And yet you're just a single cell. And it's as above, so below, as within, so without. So look to nature and restore balance. Because again, when we have disease, it's really showing us that we are out of balance. We have to bring ourselves into balance, into harmony. In most cases, it has to do with detoxing, eliminating certain unhealthy practices, including the things that we eat, the lack of exercise and movement, and adopting healthier habits. That is really where you should start.
We should. And, going back to nature and understanding the power of writing something down on paper and speaking it out loud, giving something that's invisible a name and an identity. And this is kind of what the DRs do. I mean, I know it's their job to give a diagnosis, but like Barbara O'Neill says, do leave it at the door. Don't let that grab hold of you, because your cells are listening, whether you like it or not. They are listening. And if you get that information in your mind and you go home and Google it, I think you're just sending yourself down further and further into a rabbit hole. Now, there is the idea that, if there's something wrong, you need to look at it and figure out how to turn it around. But go into that with that exact mindset of figuring it out and letting your body heal, not just throwing something at it from the DR. There's something out of balance in your body and you need to figure it out and shift it.
Yeah, and just stating from my own life, Lyme disease. The rate of false positives when you get tested can range from 2.5 to 25% across different commercial laboratories. One lab reporting over 50% inaccurate results. Why don't we just flip a coin then? Doesn't that seem to make as much sense? This is what we've been basically trusting in. This is why it's a new age, because, people need to do a little bit more research for themselves. And I would trust Mother Nature first and foremost and get plenty of good, healthy sleep. And again, prioritize your health, because without your health, you really don't have anything as far as, this is your body is your temple. So take care of your temple.
That guy's just cute. It feels like sleep just watching him. It's great.
Yeah, it does. It's great being with you guys. We look forward to your comments. Please do like, share, subscribe, and we appreciate any boosts or whatever the terminology that they're using now.
Yes, we appreciate the hype. Please hype if you can. And the way you do it is if you go and you hit the thumbs up, a lot of times you'll see that little hype shoot down on the right side of the screen, and hit that hype for us.
Hype for health.
I like that. Hype for health.
Yes. Cheers, guys. May you have a great, wonderful day, night, or morning, wherever you are. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.